Hi, everybody. I am back today. This morning, I'm so sorry we are a little bit behind with time because of some internet issues back in Africa, but we're going to start right away. I have a panel today. It's kind of different. I don't have one guest, I have more than one guest. We have a panel of mental health experts. We're going to be exploring part two of depression. Last week, we talked about what depression is and how does it affect people. What are the myths? What are the beliefs? Today, we're going to talk more. People will share their stories, what they've experienced in their workspace, in their personal lives. And then we're going to get going. Thank you so much. I can see there's people that are on. Thank you. Thank you for coming on. Without wasting our time, I'm going to introduce my guests here. There's Dr. Lulu right next to me there on the bottom. Dr. Lulu, aka Dr. Uchena Ume. She's a pediatrician and she goes by Mamatrician. She is a youth suicide activist. She prevents these thoughts in children. She's been doing this close to 30 years now, and she's going to share her experience and also what she's seen in children. She sees African children, African American, white children, every race. But of course, today we're focusing on our children of Motherland. And then next to her, I've got Mr. David. David is actually, I'm going to quickly go through his credentials here. Mr. David Naboare is the mental health officer, and he's the national president of Ghanaian National Association of Community Mental Health Officers. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. We're going to start right away. So today is part two of our continuation of last week program. We were talking about depression and how I had actually one of our colleagues here, Dr. Sola, he was sharing basically all the concepts of depression. Today, without wasting our time, I'm going to start with you, Dr. Lulu. Are you able to come on?
I am. There's some noise going on here, but give me 1 second.
Awesome.
You want me to introduce what you want me to start by introducing myself?
Absolutely. And yeah, let's do that.
So my name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Mamatrician. I'm a board certified pediatrician and I'm a mom. I've been a doctor for close to 30 years now. I went to medical school in Nigeria and I am Nigerian born. I have 3 Nigerian sons. I live in the US and I'm just trying to thrive with the current situation in the world, really, with the pandemic and trying to raise Black boys in America with all the drama that goes with that. So I'm a human just like everyone else is, and I'm obviously distressed with just the direction the world is going, but we have to just put one foot in front of the other and just keep trucking. So I am happy to be here. I'm happy to be a part of this. I'm hoping that we can touch lives and get people educated and move past the stigma that comes with the word depression, period. Across the globe, there's a stigma. So I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lulu. Mr. David, you want to do your brief intro too, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. And this is David Naboare speaking right from the Republic of Ghana. I'm a mental health officer by profession, the national president of Ghana National Association of Community Mental Health Officers, and a student of psychiatry at the University of Cape Coast, Ghana, doing my specialty to go into psychiatry education in some schools that will be needing my services. So I'm most privileged and happy to join the team of seasoned mental health professionals and practitioners around the world to talk on an important topic that is of concern to us during these hard times of COVID-19. Thank you and God bless you. We also want to say that our listeners and viewers should expect a wow delivery from us, and they're going to enjoy the moment to have with them, dwelling into depression and what we've seen on the professional field, and even settings on scenarios on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dave. You know what, without wasting our time, Dr. Lulu, can you share your story? Why did you choose this really rare topic? No one among us colleagues decides to go for suicide prevention in youth. You are a pediatrician. There's many pediatricians out there, and they are choosing to just continue with their path of pediatrics. And you specifically, you chose this road. Tell us, what was your why?
So essentially, I think in life you're given lemons, but you're also given strawberries. You're given apples, but you're also given, bitter cola. I mean, I think you get what you get, and you make your best fruit salad, so to say. So for me, I had my first person that I knew that died by suicide was actually another Nigerian doctor, a female, just like me. She was a resident physician and in surgery, and she just shot herself one Sunday morning. I did not get a chance to ask her, so I don't know what happened. But when that happened, it affected me so much that my second son, who is going to be 20 years old in next week, was born premature because of the trauma on me from my friend killing herself. Mm-hmm. And then my patient killed himself a few years after that. He was 15 years old. And then another patient of mine tried to kill himself. He was 7 years old. Mm. So they kept getting younger. The first girl was 32 years old, and the patient was 15 years old, and this boy was 17. So almost half and half and half. So of course, people, yeah, you're right. Some people will get that information and be like, okay, business as usual. And I don't blame anybody. I don't fault anybody. I just felt that for me, it's the ultimate form of preventive medicine, is to try to figure out why would anybody want to kill themselves. And if I can get to them before they do that, then you can see them in your clinic for toothache. But if they kill themselves before they come for the toothache, then you don't have a patient. So I think you're right. I'm the only person that I know in the whole world that quits their job making $200,000 plus per year to look into why will anybody want to do this. And then the more I started looking into it, the more I found that the Black people, specifically Black Americans, Black Africans, Nigerians, Ghanaians, Kenyans, kill themselves every day. Australians, nobody wants to talk about it. Hispanics from Mexico, wherever. People are killing themselves. Indians lead the pack. Guyana is the country with the second leading cause of suicide in the world. Guyana, that's Africa, as far as I'm concerned. The top country in the world is Lithuania, which is a European country. The second top country is Lesotho, which is in Southern Africa.
Yes, it's my neighbor in South Africa.
Exactly. So it's not far away. But how did I know Lesotho? I looked it up. I started looking at what's going on, and I found out Southern Africa, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Nigeria. Oh, Nigeria is number 15. So that's top 20.
And that's global. This is a global set.
Yeah. So it's not something that is rare, but nobody's looking at it. In the whole of Nigeria, 300 million plus people, we have 200 psychiatrists. 200. Yeah. That's 1 per 60 million or what? I don't know the math. I didn't do the math, but just to give you an idea of the global burden. So while I'm not asking everybody to quit their job because that's radical, but when radical things happen, you need radical reaction. So for me, I was like, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to let God, the universe, lead me. And thankfully, people like you, people like David, have come into contact with you because of this work. And I don't take that lightly. So I thank God. Martin Luther King died at 43, 39, I think he was. Jesus died at 33. Yes, people like Modibo died later in life, but they made their impact in the world way before me. I'm 51. So what I'm saying is people like David and some other younger cats coming up, they're not even 40. You don't have to be old. They say life begins at 40. No, you have 11-year-olds making a difference. So what I'm saying is whenever you get the message, you take the message and go with it that time. There's no when is the right time, when is the best time. You don't have to wake up in the morning to do what you're doing. You're an hour before me. I woke up and I barely made it on time. I was like, oh my God, let me go, let me do this because I promised to do it, So that's kind of what I do. When I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. It's not about who wants to do it or who's listening, because you never know whose life you're going to touch that one day. Somebody's watching us right now that needs to hear this. And
Yeah.
that's what we're here for. So thank you for the platform, and I'll do my best to get
Yes,
the message
thank you
out
so
there.
much, Dr. Lulu. Guys, as you can hear, Dr. Lulu, she's telling us about the array of this distribution of this condition. It doesn't matter if you are 7, you are 8, you are 15, you are 50, you are 80. We're starting to see even elderly people killing themselves. So this has no race, this has no country, this has no class. We see people rich according to our description of rich, and yet inside they're suffering. So depression basically, it doesn't choose any class. Basically, I'm going to go back to Dr. Lulu because I want us to explore what you just said. Mr. David, do you want to share your story? Why did you choose psychiatry? I mean, there's so many specialties in medicine, in nursing. How did you choose this?
Thank you very much. And I chose to enter into mental health because I was in the general wards. And at the general wards, I think we see patients from various areas in terms of their illness. I work at the medical unit before. I work at accident and emergency. I work at the surgical, where I left to do the mental health. So within those years of practice, 5 years, I got to know that there were some issues that if we had tackled them in terms of mental health, people wouldn't have ended up in the hospital. And also, I have a brother who was also into psychiatry at the unit then. So I do join him, we go for outreaches. So when you get to the community and the cases they receive, you get to know that a lot needs to be done in terms of our mental health. But who are the people who are supposed to do that? It is we, the young ones. Where when you look at the workforce in terms of practitioners vis-a-vis the population, you can see that always there is a great gap.
Yes.
For example, where I work now, I take care of not less than 5,000 people in my population. Can I see to them for their mental health needs? That is a very big question. So looking at this, back then, I decided I will enter into mental health and be able to contribute whatever I have to solve people's problems when they have the distress, when they have the challenges and the disorders. So this was what motivated me. And I have some close relations and friends who suffered from mental illnesses, of which then we have to help them come out of the situation. Yes, and if you are someone who is well vested with mental health, even as at now, all of us, even the speakers, you must know the condition you will be having, or you have, or you are expected to have, because of some kind of some mixed feelings you'll be having from time to time. You should know yourself that this is the category within which I form myself, so that you understand yourself better, to manage yourself first before you be able to manage somebody. So this was why I chose mental health. And in terms of that, I want to say that no person is immune to mental illness. We are all prone to getting mental illnesses. And in every household, there is someone who is having mental illness, keeping it from the family or from himself, who doesn't even know. So it is very crucial that every household should take its or her mental health serious, because without that, you can be going and becoming. Why would somebody wake up in the morning and refuse to eat? These are some of the basic things we do at home. So I will come there. So I think these were some of the things that drove some of us, and we are making impact. There are some success stories I'll be sharing when we get there, because we actually need to reach out to a lot of people. Yeah, and thanks to
There's
Dr.
something.
Soka, because I've learned a lot from her. I've learned a lot from some of the colleagues when we began to network. And I think this is the right way we can do to challenge ourselves, fixing problems from the very corner we find ourselves. Thank you very much.
There's something you mentioned that is so critical. The fact that three things actually I'm going to say. Every family.
Yes.
If you're going to be honest with yourself, but human beings by nature, when we're toddlers, when we're growing children, if we're struggling, we say, "Mom, come help me." Yeah. But when we suddenly become adult teenagers, we don't want to say help me anymore. But also because the world has made it in such a way that if you say the word mental, they will say, "Oh my God, what do you mean?" Just yesterday in America here, just as an example, this sister of Tony Braxton, she attempted
She attempted, I saw that.
Most people are like, oh, is this suicide? Look, let me tell you something. She has a history of prior suicide attempt. So this was a suicide attempt. She's still unresponsive as at this point. So we're not trying to judge her, but this is why people need to come out and say, I'm suffering. Hello, I need help. Please help me. But we're shrouded with this. What are they going to say?
Yes.
What's good? When I was suicidal, if I did not open my mouth and say something, I would not be here right now. I would not be here right now. So we have to learn how to say, look, forget that. I need help right now. I need to talk to somebody. And so I'm going to sound very Nigerian in this interview, because I want people to know that I am a Nigerian just like you. There's no magic something that, sometimes for the Christians especially, I go there a lot, because I know in Nigeria, in Africa, even America, they put religion and use that to cover everything and make it look like, oh, you didn't pray well, you need to pray more. It's because the Holy Ghost fire did not touch on you or whatever. Meanwhile, we have pastors that kill themselves. Last year in Nigeria, a prominent pastor killed himself. In America, a prominent pastor killed himself. 2 prominent pastors killed themselves in America and Nigeria. Because it's not a Jesus thing. Even Jesus himself, he had struggles. In the Bible, we had Jesus documented to be sad, and he would go to a quiet place. What do you think was happening? He was going to a quiet place to center himself.
Yes. You know what, Dr. Lulu? I want us people, as you went deep into this, both of you actually, I want us to remind people, last week we went on the symptoms of depression, because I want people to know what you guys are talking about. What are these people talking about? When we say people, when you are depressed, what do you mean? Can you guys, one of you, take us through? When you're saying, I am depressed, or you are saying one of your patients, you come up with a diagnosis, depression, what do you mean?
I think because I'm a physician, I'm going to go first. But David, I would like your input. What I don't like to use is, I don't like to put any names. All my patients that come to see me, I don't want to know their diagnosis. I really don't, because people are stuck on the word. Then they say, oh, but I'm not depressed.
Yes.
So I don't use depression. Yeah. Are you having difficulty falling asleep at night? Do you stay up all night thinking about something? Your mind is racing all the time. So I give you the examples of this. Forget the name. I don't want to hear the name. I don't care the diagnosis. Do you find that your mind is thinking so wide? You think you're the president. You wake up in the morning, you think you're the president. And you believe in your mind that you are the president and nobody can talk you out of that. That's a delusion of grandeur. But I don't need to tell you that. I just want you to tell me what you're going through. Do you find that you're so sad and it has lasted for weeks? The medical professionals say anything more than 2 weeks. Okay, forget 2 weeks. For you, has it lasted for long? Yes. Because Africans, they don't want to put a name to it. So don't put a name to it. Has it lasted for a long time? Do you worry more than other people are worrying? Right now, we're having a pandemic. Everybody in the universe is worried. But if you are now worried more than everybody to the point that you cannot leave your house because you're so worried, is that not anxiety? But I'm not going to call it anxiety. It's okay. Just tell me your symptoms.
Yes.
When you hear something, your heart will just skip a bit and then you just freeze. You can't talk again. You're just free. That's mutism. Don't call it mutism. Just tell me you're frozen and you can't talk for days. So that's what I want people to recognize. Stop putting a big name to it. Don't call it depression. Because once you say depression, I'm not depressed.
Right.
Are you sad? Yes, of course. Depression, the light way to put depression is sadness. But it's more than that. Sad to the point that you can't go to work. You cannot cook for your kids. You're not taking care of yourself. You're no hygiene. You're not eating anymore. You cannot sleep for days.
Yes. There's something you once said.
Don't put a name. Go ahead.
Yes. Dr. Lulu once said when she experienced her suicidal thoughts, she was experiencing mental anguish. Do you want to take us through that? Because depression, it either comes with mental anguish, which she calls that, or suicidal ideation, right? Which could lead to suicide. Take us through that, because a lot of times people, they had a good life and then suddenly something happens. Your child drowns. Someone gets involved in an accident right away. Some people, they experience these suicidal thoughts just after that experience. And you had a beautiful life before. Can you take us through that, please?
I think it's important that we mention that suicide, I think it was you that said, is an equal opportunity. It's not, it's not for the rich, it's not for the poor. As a matter of fact, if you look into the statistics, most third world countries have a very high rate of suicide. And suicide is not about mental illness. And I like to use the word mental fitness, really, as opposed to mental illness. I call it mental fitness because physical fitness, if you're a very active athlete, you're a world-known basketballer, and then you get damage to your Achilles tendon or maybe your knee, and then you cannot play basketball, and then your finances are now dwindling, you will be suicidal. You will want to kill yourself. Why? Because now you cannot, the thing that you thought, this is all I can do, my basketball is not there again. You become suicidal. Yeah. So the thoughts come. Now, whether you act on the thoughts or you don't act on the thoughts depends on your resiliency. So that's why people talk about suicide and resiliency. They go hand in hand. On one end is resiliency. On one end is a trauma that happened to you, which is what you said. Something happened. Everybody's happy, go lucky. There's something happened. In my case, it was divorce. And because I'm a Nigerian woman, when you get divorced, they look down on you like you are the scum of the earth. Like you stink, like you're so bad. Meanwhile, they didn't ask you, why did you divorce? Is it because you are, domestic violence or what happened? No. Yes. You should stay in the marriage. My auntie stayed in the marriage and she died, and I was their chief bridesmaid. I said to myself, that will never be me. And I even stayed in the marriage a little bit longer than I should have. When I found myself having thoughts of killing myself in my own marriage, I say, what is this?
Not right.
For what?
And you had 3 boys. You had 3 children to leave behind. Yes. David, do you want to tell us what is it that you see on a day-to-day experience at work? I mean, and of course, you can actually share the symptoms people bring when they come see you, and tell us, how do you help these people when they come see you?
I'm most grateful that we're talking about an important topic that is somehow interwoven with what doctor said. Yes, suicide, I want everyone listening to us, some might not know, and depression, they are somehow related. Yes, and also depression, as we talking about, depression is a form of mental illness. So we want people to understand that depression is a form of mental illness. And in as much as we talk that when World Health Organization is saying that 1 out of every 4 is likely to be suffering from some form of mental illness. So you ask yourself, we have schizophrenia, we have bipolar, we have all those things I can call the childhood conditions and the likes. Depression is part. So it could be one of these conditions that someone might suffer from. But depression is very, very common these days because of the current situation we find ourselves as a people. What some of us see, Madam has mentioned a lot in terms of the signs and symptoms. You see, one thing I just want to reiterate is that in terms of mental illness, it is the family members who are the first point of identification on the condition of the patient. They will see that the way I'm seeing you, no, it's not like how you were before. There will be loss of interest, your appetite, the way you sleep. Then some engage in substance abuse.
Yes.
So there will be uselessness. The person will feel useless, hopelessness, and worthlessness. So you can see like,
and then they want to kill themselves because
yes, then no that hope. Is where the person will think like, it is better I end it all. So why do I live? Why do I live? Because the cases I see at the end of the day, I can, if it's about 10 cases I see in a week or a month, about 3-4 will be depressive related. So why is it so? And we must let them understand. We are not going to take them to the anatomy and physiology or the pathophysiology of depression, but it is a condition that affects the human brain. It is not your neck.
but it is your brain, and they must understand that the brain controls almost every part of the human body.
Yes.
So when probably those chemical imbalances that causes this depression are surfaced or they come up, then you must know that your entire body is going to be affected. If your entire body is affected, it's going to affect your sexual relationship, the way you have your relationship with your partner, even I see cases over a month, they don't bath. So if you have a partner who doesn't bath for a month, then you must know that there is a problem. Then some, they engage in substance abuse. I just want to come with the practical sessions. They can take the alcohol or the weed from morning to evening without eating. So their family members will be wanting. Then some, they are isolated. They are withdrawn from the entire family. If the person used to converse with you, now the person will know more. They don't know what is in the brain. Then the next thing is that some of them will be thinking suicidal. They will ask you, who is a close family member, the way you see me, even if I die today, is it not better? Do I matter in the family? And these are the things that people say. I want to say on authority that about 10 people, when they commit suicide, 8 or 9 of them would have told a close friend or a family member the predicament which the person is going through.
Yes.
But we at times ignore what people go through.
Tell you.
I can just say that I listened to why I got interested in youth mental health is that most of the youth are my friends. So when I see probably a post on your wall, or I want to talk to you, something can just dawn on me to call you. When I call, the way you talk, oh, Brad David, this is what I'm going through. It is just probably some financial crisis, small. And that one is pushing most of the youth to even to go into this kind of psychological trauma we face. Money is not there. Who is the person coming to talk to? The person is in between dependence and independent. He's not with the under the care of the parent. He cannot fend for himself. He's in the middle, or she's in the middle. What the person will feed on, no one. When you talk to some of them too, you can see like the mother is here, the father is here. Who will this person engage now is a problem. So most of them, when they come, in terms of their personal hygiene from head to toe, you see that they are ungroomed. Some, they are fingernails, then they will be smelling these substances, either alcohol, the weed, and the likes. Some, you go to them, they will never talk. Some, they become hyperactive. When I say hyperactive, it means like they do anything, irritable. They can just vandalize everything within the environment in which they find themselves. So when it happens, the family member will call you that, oh, you have a patient. They are not calling the patient that your patient. So you can see what our community is trying to do. I am caring for you because I have this knowledge in mental health. But when your family member is sick, you are now calling that family member that me, the mental health practitioner, is my patient. You have forgotten that the person is your family member.
You know what?
So,
okay, go ahead.
So what I want to conclude on that is that what they always bring, some of them, they come at the chronic stage, whereby if you don't intervene with probably rapid tranquilization, of which if you want to do the chaser method or the cocktail method, then you are going to face a lot of trouble even at your facility. Some, if you identify them even on your normal routines and you get to know that this person is facing problem, then you get closer, you'll be able to intervene at the initial stages, probably talk therapy, engaging the person. I do work with some patients that I think I can move with to just let them understand the way their mental health should be. So these are the things some of us see, that at the grave end, you see that a lot of people are in difficulty, but they refuse to come out. And World Health Organization said 28% of the mentally ill will always wait and keep their signs and symptoms to themselves over a year. Yes. Over a year. So if it's from today, July 18th, next year before the person will be able to tell you that I am facing a problem. What about if something happened right now? And the brain works perfectly in such a way that if you don't take time, the next line of action, somebody holding a rope, you might think the person is going to dry his things he has washed, he's going to hang himself.
Yes.
So I just like the way Doc came with the practical. We should face the reality at times as a people.
Yes.
We shouldn't try to entice people. And now people are living on the interest of other people, but not their own, should I say, safety. They want to live to the interest of probably my husband, my family, neglecting your own mental health needs. You will get a problem.
Yes.
If you think what I'm going through cannot help, the best thing is to seek professional help. Then you try to get out of the situation and be free. We are not saying divorce is the alternative, but if that is what will make you comfortable, I will understand the person going out in the relationship. Yes. Because most people have been in a relationship and they have committed suicide. Some are depressed and right now they are in the psychiatric hospitals for over 20, 30 years. So have you gone into that marriage or you are still there? Life is only one. And mental health is total health. It controls almost everything in your system. The way I speak, the way I have pleasure for even my girlfriend or my husband, the way I have taste, everything is from here. But if it's affected, you see the coordination all will be mad. Everything will be unstable. And if a car engine is spoiled, the alternator is spoiled, how is the car going to move? People would rather go and repair their motorbikes or cars every month, but they refuse to go for psychological, should I say, test or probably counseling every year. This is what some of us must advocate for when we come there. Your motorbike, your car is not important than your head. Thank you very much. I'll pause here for now.
You guys, you've said so much, and I would love to actually explore what Dr. Lulu said initially. You know, us as African people, we love religion, we love faith, and she mentioned that even pastors, they do get depressed, they do commit suicide. What is it that when we experience these symptoms, what stops us? Because the other thing, I actually looked at a study one time in the US, in the Black American population, there was a study showing that pastors were interviewed about depression. They said it doesn't exist. And yet in America, Black Americans are the most affected. They went through trauma. I don't want to go on post-slavery syndrome they went through. All right, so they are still going through today. Today, I can see we have a new visitor here, Benedict. I think we lost it. Okay, guys. Now I just want us to explore again, people, so that they understand the causes of depression. You guys touched on finances. You guys touched on divorce. I'm gonna mute you guys. I think I'm gonna mute you, Dr. Lulu. Sound that's coming. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm gonna just mute you guys and see if it's gonna help us with the sound. There's an ugly sound, but you know I'll unmute you as you come on. So we were talking about divorce, which could also lead, or like relationship issues. We talked about finances. It's humongous. In Africa, people are graduating and we're starting to see more depression and suicides amongst youth. People, they are graduating and they are not getting the fulfillment of what they wished for when they went to school. I also want to talk about domestic violence. Domestic violence actually, yes, domestic violence actually could be a sign of depression. A lot of men and women commit domestic violence because of fear of expressing what they feel inside. Who becomes their victim? Their spouses, their partners, their children, even at work. So a lot of times lately, I've been focusing on that specific topic because we tend to miss people, and we start talking about people are doing all this domestic violence, and there could be an underlying factor there. Men and women equally, we see women abusing their spouses, their men. Of course, the percentage on the World Health Organization is showing more men actually committing this. And actually, 38% of murders, women who are killed in the States, they are killed by their spouses or their romantic partners, right? And of course, I would like us to pay attention to the family history, which we lack to get in Africa, because again, we just mentioned that people present with these symptoms, we ignore it, we don't talk about it. I want people who are watching here to know that it could be your aunt, it could be your mother, it could be your father who has depression. So there is that family history people need to understand. And of course, the chemical imbalance David mentioned. Without wasting our time, I would like to actually, because we're going to take questions right now. I'll start with you, Dr. Lulu. Right now, what advice would you give our viewers here when they're experiencing these symptoms, where to start? Because a lot of times people don't know where to start. Do I go to a doctor? Do I go to a counselor? And of course, paying attention to in Africa, we just mentioned that there's low percentage of mental health worker to a doctor. Where to start? I have these symptoms. What do I do?
I think the main thing is, are you, the word denial is a problem across the globe. It's not only Africa, India, Indonesia, wherever. Denial, most people don't, but it cannot happen to me, but it should not happen to me. But I'm the CEO of, I don't know, Kingsway, or I'm this pastor somewhere, or I'm the wife of the governor, therefore it should not happen to me, but it's happening to me. Actually, between depression and anxiety is the commonest form of mental illness across the globe, even before depression. Anxiety is because you're just worry yourself sick, worry about where the food is going to come from, worry about where the money is going, and that is all real. It's real because you lost your job, and then you don't believe that you are now over worrying to the point that you're now fixated on the worry and not the solution. So like this quarantine, for instance, people lost their jobs, right? A lot of people lost it, but a lot of people have become innovative. They've launched other businesses. They've found a way out. So that's the difference between one person that has the problem and is staying worrying about the problem and not try to change their mind. Even if you pray, there's a joke about a man that was praying to God. He was praying to God for a job. He prayed for 30 days. He said, God, please, I need a job. I need a job. Do you know finally what God said? God said, you need to apply.
Yes.
The person has not applied for a job, but they're asking God for a job. You see what I mean? So that the example I'm giving is you need to do something about it. You need to ask for a job. Don't just be praying about a job. There's nothing wrong with praying about a job, but you have to do the work that comes with that. So for you, if you're struggling with these thoughts, you have to reach out. I'll rather have somebody who reaches out, and at least even if it's a struggle to get better, but at least they reach out. Your family members might know it. Your family members might not know it. Some people hide the symptoms even from their family members, especially the head of the household. If you're the man, you don't want your children to know that you're struggling. That is the beginning of the end right there. Because first of all, you're not going to be a good enough parent to your kids. You cannot give from a place of empty. If you're not whole, you cannot minister to them. They say, put your mask on first for a reason. Yes. Take care of yourself first. I don't care if you're the head of the household. If you're struggling, if you don't reach out, that household is not going to stand. That you're the foundation. A house built on a weak foundation is not going to stand. So you're the head of the household. It doesn't matter. If you have a problem, you need to reach out. And you don't have to say, but I don't know a doctor. Forget about the doctor. Tell your friend. Yes. Tell your best friend. Maybe your best friend will say, I know this guy who knows this guy, or I know this person who went through the same thing. But because you didn't tell anybody, you are there on your own. You're not going to get better. Let me just put it that way. You cannot get better if you don't reach out. If you have a toothache,
yes,
and you don't ask a dentist, your toothache is not going to get better. You can pray about your tooth all you want. If you need a root canal, you have to have a root canal.
Absolutely.
Something as simple as that. And then physical health, like David was saying, is equal to mental health. They are the same. They're one and the same. They are linked. If you don't believe me, the next time you have stomach ache for a long time and you don't do something about it, what's the next thing that's going to happen? Your energy level will be down. You are going to be irritable. You're going to be angry. You're going to be lashing out because you did not take care of that stomach pain or toothache. So that's what I mean by they are related. They're connected to each other.
Right.
So reaching out is the critical thing. The first thing to do is allow yourself to get past that denial. Yeah. And then the second thing is you now have to reach out to someone, because even I reach out, I have a doctor. Everybody has to have a doctor. I have a doctor. Even if I'm a doctor, I'm not supposed to heal myself, because sometimes you cannot see yourself as you really are. You have to go to somebody to see you, to help you make the diagnosis, to help you make the right decision. Whether it's your business that is suffering, you need a business coach or whatever. Whether it's your tooth that is suffering, you need a dentist. You have to go to get some. That's why God said all the fingers are not equal. Everybody has their own part that they are playing, their role that they're playing. The thumb is not the pinky finger. The pinky finger is not the middle finger. Each finger has its own role. The ring finger is the ring finger for a reason. It's not the thumb for a reason. So we all have our own role. So you have to go to someone that has a role. And if it doesn't have to be that you know a doctor now, don't know a doctor, that's fine. Ask your friend, ask your neighbor, ask your mother. Maybe they know somebody. And I have a problem with going to the pastor first, because a lot of times the pastors, I'm going to just come out and say it, is a business. In Africa, is a business.
Yes.
You can go to a town that has the biggest church in the world, but the whole people around the church are living in shams and slums. The church is not helping the people around them. So go to the pastor, they say, bring money first. Did Jesus ever in the record of Jesus ever ask somebody to bring money first? I've never heard. He will pray for you where you are. In fact, the woman even came and touched a piece of his clothes. He said, I just want to touch a piece of his clothes and I'll get better. And he felt the power leave him. He was like, somebody just touched me. Who did that? He noticed and he said, your faith has healed you. But she had to go to him. But in America, in Nigeria, wherever, when you go, the pastor will say, bring money first.
You're
telling you that they're not really. Go ahead.
I'm saying you're already suffering. Like we said here, a lot of times in Africa, people, they go into depressive states because of finances. We were just talking about that. So how on earth are you going to afford doing this? And why would you pay to get the help you need? I love the fact that you are mentioning that they're going first to the pastor. And I would like our viewers not to think that we are basically playing down the role of faith. We love it. And as a matter of fact, I have faith, I believe, but we need to be practical and seek the help. Exactly. Before I actually avoid wasting our time here, Dr. Lulu, I'm going to take our viewers' questions. Someone says, greetings from London. Great panel. Thank you so much. Fox Zulu, they are giving us their journal there. I guess people could actually get that and view those journals. I'm going to mute you, Dr. Lulu. There's some sound. And more honorable Olola Julo, great grand rising kings and queens. Absolutely. Thank you. Festus Kobena, I see you, sweet Valco. Festus Dave. I guess someone knows Dave. And please, Dave, for some reason, we lost him. Fox Zulu News wants you to share your page. Thank you so much. Doma Maradona May, please support Free West Papua from Indonesian state racists. Oh man, that's a topic for another day, because that is probably putting people into depression with all what's happening there. Ba Sulaiman, the next African savers. Keep it up. God shall always be with you. Thank you, Ba. And I just wrote here, to learn more from Dr. Lulu, follow her page, guys. She's on Ask Dr. Lulu's page here on Facebook. And David, you can actually learn from David too. He's David Naboare. Just search him up. And Louis says, spot on, tell your friends. Absolutely, Louis. And you know what? I like the fact that you are a man saying that, because in Africa, we tend to have men feeling that it will take away their manhood. You know, there's a problem there, Dr. Lula. I would like us to talk more about, before we close here, men in Africa and globally, actually, we've seen men or boys growing up, they're told there's a sound. I do not understand.
Yeah, there's a static. I don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I think it's a StreamYard, because there's almost everybody's
like yeah. And it's not because I have a phone, because it didn't have when I had one person here. It's so ugly.
Yeah,
yeah, it's so ugly.
I don't know. The static is really bad. I think it's StreamYard. I don't think it's
StreamYard.
Any one of us. I think it's StreamYard. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to talk about.
It was outside, and I came inside, and it's bad inside. So I think it's StreamYard.
StreamYard.
Everybody might have
happening.
Yeah, all asleep. Yeah. But it's happening.
Because the people who try to log on, it's StreamYard. we have to do something about it. We'll talk about it. So I was still talking about how in Africa or even globally, boys and men are expected to man up, to be strong. They are not showing their emotions. And that actually has contributed to these high stakes of depression because men and boys have learned to suppress and repress their feelings when they are heavy. They are asked, come on, be strong. Even parents themselves, they tend to pay attention to a girl child when the girl child maybe falls and hurt herself. When it's a boy is expected to raise up and keep going. So we need to change as African parents. We need to start changing that viewpoint. Emotions are emotions. It doesn't matter if you're a boy or girl. We come from the same place. We have the same emotion centers. We head the same way. Please, guys, we need to eradicate that myth that boys need to be strong, men need to be strong, because truly we're starting to see prominent figures, men, committing suicide here. So suffering is for everyone. Dr. Lulu,
I think one thing I was gonna mention is the gentleman that said, yes, tell your friends.
Yeah.
I think the problem is the friends themselves. We have to all be each other's keepers, because you have to be careful which friend are you telling. Not every friend is in that mindset that's going to be supportive.
Yeah.
Some friends will not be supportive, and then you're also shy of what are they going to say. You know, I as a doctor, to this date, I have a show that I interview only doctors, because I know doctors, they have this mentality that, oh, we must be stoic, we must have it together. But you're going into the war zone every day where people have COVID-19.
Yeah.
It is normal for you to be anxious. It is. I want you to be anxious. I need you to be, because it's normal. But if you're in denial of the fact that you're anxious whether you're going to get it, whether your family is going to get it, and let me tell you something, having COVID-19 and recovering is not enough, because people that recover have other health problems. So there's a real fear here. So for you to pretend that you're not in fear, that's the problem, the disconnect. You're not allowing yourself to be real about the fact that this is a real struggle.
Yeah.
So if you now speak to the wrong friend will say, don't say anything, no. Don't say anything, no. But really, do you not need to say something? You know what I mean? Like,
The help you need to get the help you need.
To get the help you need. So the right friends are important. The right friends. And then you, the friend, you have to be careful what you say when somebody tells you that they are in distress. You have to be very careful. I don't know what to, I don't want to overstretch that, but be careful, be vulnerable. When somebody says to you, you have to know that it takes a lot for them to come to you. So when they come to you, please, by all means,
respect it.
Yes, be respectful, be compassionate is the best thing I can say, which means I hear you, I feel you, and I want to help you. This is not the time to say, what do you mean? You have all these shoes in your closet. You're rich. You live in Banana Island. People, Hollywood is an example of the fact that money is not everything.
Yes. We saw, didn't we see Bourdain? Anthony Bourdain.
We saw Anthony Bourdain.
Example of, actually, he's been to Nigeria. Anthony took us globally. We were sitting in our bedrooms, in our living rooms. This is a man who was passionate about what he was doing, but he suffered and he committed suicide. Kate Spade.
Yes.
We have many.
Kate Spade was worth billions of dollars.
Yes.
And then the other comedian, he was worth billions of dollars. Yes. And this Tamar Braxton. You know, when we talk about trauma and suicide, that's exactly what's happening. This Tamar Braxton, she has a history of previous repeated suicide attempts. She has a history of sexual trauma when she was young, domestic abuse, divorce, and just trauma. Meanwhile, her father is a pastor. You're not exempt because your father is a pastor. Her father is a pastor with a history of cheating on his wife. So we're not putting down pastor. We are saying you're human beings first. He's a human being first before he became a pastor. We need to recognize that we are human beings first. Human beings by nature are fallible. We are by nature not perfect. So don't seek that perfection. My mother said that there's only a perfectly dead person. You're only perfectly dead. So when you're alive, you're not perfect. So I accept that fact that you are possibly not perfect. And so you allow yourself your imperfections, allow yourself grace to be imperfect, allow yourself grace to live in a world where, okay, maybe I need help.
Yeah.
Right? I don't have all the answers. Well, in fact, this is a talk that cannot end ever.
It cannot end. This 1 hour is not enough, you know. Okay, I'll just go to Bob. Bola Sulaiman says, wow, I have love for this panel. Reason being, they are very gender sensitive. Absolutely, Bob. We are just about that. We are trying to eradicate this myth in Africa that men have to be strong and women, we have to be sensitive. We are here to change. We are here for transformation. And we are here to tell people that when you have struggles internally, speak up. Because the other greatest thing that unfortunately we are starting to see in Africa, Africa actually is one of the highest, has the highest stats, one of the highest stats in consumption, alcohol and drug abuse. It's because of this suffering, right? If we're not saying, and people need to remember this, we are not saying these issues are not existing. We are understanding that people don't have jobs, you know, but the one thing I like about us Africans, we have that extended unit or that extended family concept. If you feel you are struggling, go speak to your uncle, go speak to your aunt, you know, your sister, your brother. That I love about us. We have that big community, we have that community feel, of which I don't see it yet in this side of the world. In the Western world, a lot of times people are suffering alone. They have a child.
But sometimes too, in the African context, while we do have a family community mentality, which is great. Yes. Another country that has a huge community mentality is India.
Yes,
but India leads the pack in suicide. Yes. So sometimes the community can also be counterproductive because the community as a group, we don't believe that you are weak. You see, in America, they have this context of strong Black woman. There's nothing that's as far from the truth as that.
Yes.
Strong Black woman does not exist.
Does it?
Does exist.
On any
women will not.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. You touched something, because as much as I'm embracing our Africanism, our beauty of extended families, it could be destructive. It could be destructive. And also, before I close, Dr. Lulu, I want us to also touch on the fact that in African families, we tend to be trusting when it comes to our relatives. A lot of children, they are molested by their uncles.
Yes. I knew you were going there. Yes.
They are molested by their fathers. Can we please stop the naivety of trusting? Yeah. When your child you start seeing your child getting withdrawn, is not talking to you. And sometimes children, actually, before we close here, children, when they have depression, they don't necessarily present the same way as adults. They present rebellious.
Hyperactive, rebellious.
Your child is not listening to you. Your child is uncooperative. Your child, you know, you suddenly see changes in your child. I would like us to change what is wrong with you. Can we replace it with contesting what happened to my child?
Exactly.
Once we start doing that, we're going to start being compassionate and start digging deeper. A lot of children are abused under the same roof, even by the helpers in your family. The people that work for you, you are busy at work, someone is abusing your children. I've met a lot of people who have experienced that. Thank you so much, Dr. Lulu. We're going to close now. I really enjoyed this talk with you guys. And for some reason, David, I think it's the internet in his country, we lost him. But I really appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll bring you guys back. And thank you so much to our viewers. We'll see you next week.